Party people in the place to be. What's going on? It's me. I'm being told that people are finding their way to the review, telling more followers that I'm doing the review. That's cool. You can follow me there. Hold on, let's see here. There's these people walk behind my car so I don't run them over. Oh, they're on a date. Look at that. They're holding hands. Look at that. Oh, they look like they're juniors in high school. Aww. They're so sweet. They gotta be juniors. He's driving a car. Can't do that as a sophomore. I mean, you can. Just not legally. Alright, let's start getting out this mother. Okay. So yeah, might as well get started. Party people, because this is going to be a video. This is live right now, but I'm going to post it as a video other places. Party people in the place to be. What's going on? It's me. But maybe you didn't recognize that it's me. Because I have these glasses on, you see. And they're hypno glasses, and they're distorting your vision so that you don't recognize me. Hold on. See, now you recognize me? Now you see? Now you see I am who I say I am? And I say I'm perfect. No, I can't. None of us can go that now. Do the kids just... y'all are not in school. Why are the kids just barely out places now? Y'all were here first. Why are the kids just barely out now? Heading to this little shindig. Anyway, you are supposed to stop, buddy. And you are the... Alright, because nobody know how to do this shit. So anyway, every time I try to do one of these shit things in my car, fucking some shenanigans taking place around me as I do this. Anyway, yeah, I went to go see Superman, and we'll do the non-spoiler obviously before we get to the spoiler review of the Superman. But it was I saw it in 3D. I will say this, so obviously we've got some stuff to take care of. It's not a perfect movie by any means. There are definitely some things that I was sitting in the theater and I was like, really? They did that? Or why did they do that? Or that didn't necessarily make sense. But then there were also things, what the hell, was that an El Pollo? That wasn't El Pollo. What was I saying? Superman, yeah. So I saw it in 3D. I will say this, it was made to be seen in 3D. The stuff that they did with it is definitely supposed to be seen in 3D. If you're watching it flat, I suppose, you can, but it's definitely 3D. You definitely whoosh through and zoom through and stuff comes at the camera and it's for 3D. They made it to film it you're supposed to watch it in 3D. And I thought it would be it's flying, once in a while you see it. No. It's supposed to be, they made it so you see it in 3D. They want you to watch it in 3D. They want you to watch it in 3D. If you watch it outside of 3D, I suppose it's cool too, but they want you to watch it in 3D. I will say that the guy, what's his name? Whoever his name is, I don't even know his name yet. He's definitely a good Superman. He's definitely a good Clark. Obviously, bar is at Christopher Reeve, but this guy's good. This guy's definitely good. Mrs. Maisel makes for a good Lois. Definitely, their chemistry is fine on screen. Their chemistry is better in interviews actually than on screen, which is weird. The couple of snippets I've seen of them together, it's they got the chemistry. On screen, it's fine. It's not bad. It's not bad chemistry. They got good chemistry, but their chemistry in interviews is definitely better than their chemistry on screen. And that's not saying that their chemistry on screen is bad. Their chemistry on screen, I would say, is probably especially in those roles of Lois and Clark, is probably Their chemistry, I would say, is probably a cool 7.5-ish. She brings a lot to it. Maybe an 8 in one of the two of the scenes. Their chemistry is thrown off by a couple things, though, and some of the things are thrown off by a couple things. So I've seen a couple of snippets of some portions of reviews before I watched it. I tried to avoid all reviews before I watched it because I started to hear a couple of different things from a couple of different sides. So I will go ahead and say, let's talk about those controversies first. So I heard that there was a controversy about, well, actually we won't talk about that. We'll get into some of those. Actually, no, we'll talk about those now. So one of the things I heard was that there was some controversy about wokeness. Dean Cain said something about wokeness. I didn't catch wokeness from this movie. There was something about there's a conflict in this movie between different countries. That's not much of a spoiler. And I was told, this is definitely talking about the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. It's like, not really. Like, you could maybe put that conflict there. I should have got off there. Maybe you could put that conflict there, but you're kind of reaching. But also, I know that you're kind of reaching from a standpoint of, I actually know about politics, and most people don't know about politics. So if you do think that, I can see why you would think that from a pedestrian NPC kind of standpoint, but I know more. It's not, I'm not judged. It's not, at least in this sentence, I'm not judging people for that. I'm just stating most people don't really know what they're talking about when it comes to that. So I can kind of see where they might put that there, but it's still kind of a stretch. You could put any country, any big country versus little country conflict there. It doesn't necessarily have to be that. You can put another country conflict there if you want to, and it could be something, you know what I mean? Like, that's why the countries are made up. It's not necessarily talking about one versus the other. It could be talking about any number of conflicts between any number of different sized countries. So there's those different aspects of it. The chemistry, like I said, on screen, their chemistry is probably like a 7.5, maybe could reach an 8. In interviews, Mrs. Maisel and Superman's chemistry is like a 9. Like, it's like, if you watch a couple of them long enough, like, I halfway was like, not are they fucking, but like, I was halfway like, are they like a couple? Not just fucking, like a couple. Like, I'm like, are they like playing footsies under the table and shit? Like, are they like a couple? So like they that in interviews, but you don't get to see that. Yeah. So you don't get to see that in the movie for a couple of different really one underlying reason that I also heard in a couple of snippets of some interviews, and this point was correct about James Gunn and the type of superhero film that this will be, and the style, the certain style that pops its head up throughout the movie in maybe inopportune moments. I will say that at least for the first half, most of the movie looks really good. I will say, especially in 3D, it looks good. There's not a whole lot of holes. Once you reach the halfway point, there are a couple different things that you're like, I kind of wish, like, yeah, that definitely looks CG. Like, you obviously know it's CG, right? Like, but it doesn't. It almost sucks you in, not to this land of, how did they do that? That's amazing. But to this land of, you don't think about it being CG, which at this point is probably the best we're ever going to do, because every studio refuses to put the care in to CG like we saw in Jurassic freaking Park in 1990 freaking 3. They don't care. They don't care to put that care into it. But this one is probably as close to, you don't actively think about it being CG as we're going to get for the time frame. I will say, one of the things I will say, because obviously everyone knows Crypto's in it, one of the things I will say is that one of the things that I was like, I wish this was CG, was a particular scene with Crypto near the end, where Crypto had to be on top of a human, And in that moment, for a long period of time, for a few, like probably a minute or two, and in that moment I was like, I wish that was a real dog. It's like because the sizing was a little off. Like the sizing was probably too big, and it's like when you try to squeeze or expand like a picture or a PNG on your computer, but it's just like it goes just a little too. It won't go exactly where you want it to be a 27, but it'll only hit 28 or 26. Like it won't sit at 27 like that. Like it was just big enough so that I'm like, I wish that was a real dog. And I was thinking, and it made me drift off a little bit. Like, could they have interloped a real dog into some of these scenes? I'm like, probably. They probably could. Like, maybe they could have. Certainly some of the scenes they absolutely couldn't have, obviously. But they probably could have gotten a real dog. You know what I mean? I kind of wish they did that for some of the scenes. It explains some stuff. Other stuff it doesn't. Very early on, there's some stuff that I'm like, where did this come from? Why don't we know where this? Why is this it's just here? It just exists. We don't know where this thing came from. It's fine, I guess, but I kind of wish we had known where this came from. And I'm sure if you know the comics and the lore and stuff, maybe some of the stuff you would know where it comes from, etc. But also some of the stuff you don't. Let's see. There were definitely plot points that worked. I think Lex Luthor was good. I think Lex Luthor was good. I think he very well established the rivalry between him and Supes and why. Like they told you over and over again why Lex Luthor hates Superman. Because they told you over and over again. They tell you early and often. And we know that he doesn't like Superman, why he doesn't like Superman. We know that it's because Superman is, everyone likes Superman, and Luthor's got a megamaniacal complex in him, and Superman irks him. We get that rivalry. We understand that dichotomy between them. Let's see. I think we all know Wendell Pierce is in it as J. Jonah Jameson. Not J. Jonah Jameson. Basically, as J. Jonah as Chief. And he's good in it as Perry. I wish there were more Wendell Pierce. I wish there was more Wendell Pierce in this movie. Not too much, but more. I think every time I saw him on screen, I was like, yeah, fucking Wendell Pierce. Fucking Perry White. I wish there was a lot going on in the movie. I get it for time, but I wish there was more of him. I think he's a treasure, and he's too good for them to only have him in it. He was only Trey's in the chat now. Can't watch this. I went to a Broken Theater earlier. Broken Theater? What, they couldn't get the bed sheet up right on the clothesline out there? I'm not in the non-spoiler territory right now. I'll tell y'all when I get into spoilers anyway. So you're cool right now, Trey. I wish there was more Jonah Jameson. We know Jimmy Olsen is in it. I like Jimmy Olsen. I like that actor. That's fine. We'll see if I can accept you in it. Go live. Accept. Go live. I don't think it's letting that. Decline that. Give her a phone call. Go live with Trey. Why won't it go live with Trey? You go live with Trey. See, Trey, I knew. See, look at him coming in, screwing this up. Accept the thing. Request to join. Accept it. Go live. All right, I've tried enough times. It's not letting that happen. Anyway, it's always on my end too. Is unable to join. Then maybe it's on your end, because it says you were unable to join. Here. No requests. Here, let me try this one. Invite. How about I invite you in and see you send a request again? This one. There he is.
The GOAT is always able to join. Let's be very clear. Right? Just so we're clear. All right?
You got me looking shorter. Look at this.
Oh, no. Hey, listen. I just wanted to explain quickly about this theater because it'll add to what you're doing. I went in to the first showing. Mind you, it was 2 o'clock on the dot, East Coast time. So it was early. I was in there.
Yeah.
First showing.
Mm-hmm.
I get in.
Same. I just left 2 o'clock here.
I got my sister. She's with me. I pay for the AMC A-list now, so I'm like, I'm in there. I be watching these movies. I paid for her ticket. I got popcorn even. I never buy popcorn. You know, we too frugal to buy popcorn, but I got concessions. I'm ready. Sit down. The screen is not working. Screen is not on. I said, okay, that's fine. I'm not tripping. No big deal. It'll come on. Because this happened with Jurassic Park the other day. By the way, a terrible fucking movie. But that's fine.
Of course it was. Why did you think it wouldn't be?
I love Jurassic Park. That's not my... Listen, I love...
The first one is the only watchable movie.
That is untrue. We can do this another day. This is not the point. This is Superman, okay? I'm just saying, that little bubble-headed... Listen, I fucking hate that movie. Anyway, so I'm sitting there, and that day, we got one preview. It was just the Odyssey. We had the Odyssey from fucking Christopher Nolan. There was one preview, and that shit was amazing. I'm super excited for that. But
I got the truncated Odyssey. It didn't show shit other than Punisher was in it. Like there was nothing to be excited or hateful. It was like
no. I'm just excited at the premises of the Odyssey because I love it. I love the Iliad. I love the Odyssey, and I love Christopher Nolan. So I'm excited to see what he does. But I'm sitting there. I'm ready. Got the popcorn. Got everything. And the other day with Jurassic Park was the same thing, but they show the one preview and then the movie starts. And I was like, okay, cool, we good. So I was thinking the same thing was gonna happen. We sitting there. They come in. We're trying to get it going. Screen would not come on. It was AC going. We had a fun crowd around us. I'm talking to the people near me with my sister. We laughing in a group. They say, hey, sorry to tell y'all, man. We got to refund y'all. They gave us free tickets back. I already got an A-list thing, so it didn't do nothing for me. But they gave us 2 free tickets. Then they refunded the ticket cost. Then they refunded the concession cost. So I made out, actually. I made out because I get to go see it again tomorrow if I want to or later tonight or whatever. But when I tell you I was pissed, Brent, I was supposed to know what was happening. I keep seeing the stupid commercial now. And I'm like, I don't even know what happened. I got to go to work this weekend. I work all fucking weekend. And
you couldn't go see another showing You couldn't go see to another showing somewhere or another screen or something?
Here's the thing. They had IMAX 3D available. I don't do 3D, man. It fucks me up. I don't know why. I get all.
They made this movie for 3D. Kyle the same way. It gives him headaches, and I'm cool with it. But
I start taking the glasses off, and I'm like, and I try to look at the screen. It's still blurry, and I'm like, oh hell no. So I throw them back on, and I'm like, I gotta get out of here. So I just had to skip it. Had to take all the incentives, and it was a big ass thunderstorm when I walked outside, and I'm just like, all right, man, fuck it. So I was eating my popcorn, watching people run in the rain, like best movie I've seen all day. Anyway, I'm gonna let you get back to your review. I just had to pop in real quick. I just wanted to say that because no, it wasn't because of the sheet. The sheet was fine. It was just the light wouldn't come out. Pissed me off.
Light wouldn't come out in that black hole you call a city you live in.
That is correct. Yes, that is correct. I just wanted to let y'all know that the Get Here podcast still exists, and sometimes we will get here. So this is
you know what that story reminds me of?
What's that?
When Vinny Chase and the Chasers went to go see Aquaman.
Did that happen?
That happened. They took Vinny to go see Aquaman. I think they ended up in the valley or something. And it went out like just before. Remember, that's where we got to see the scene of Vinny Chase running down the pier, about to hit the water, and it blacked out. The whole theater blacked out.
Bro, that's the worst shit in the world. They already
he was caught in the valley.
The theater goes out. They said if the theater goes out, don't worry, like it's a little quick blackout. This wasn't a blackout. The lights never went out. This just didn't work. And it wasn't working the week before. So I'm just thinking that particular theater is fucked up. But it's fucked up because I was trying to be ahead of the curve. Like I didn't want no spoilers. I'm good, da-da-da. So I see you up here reviewing. I'm like, this bitch went to the early one like me. But mine would have been earlier. I would have been there at fucking 11 for you.
I was surprised there wasn't one out here yesterday. I mean, other than, I guess there was some Amazon shit you could do, but I wasn't paying extra for it.
They used to make y'all wait till 5. on the West Coast on Thursday. I remember it had to be 5 o'clock because I had to wait. I was pissed.
I think it depended on the movie.
Yeah, it changed now. They switched it up a little bit, but it was the rules because on the East Coast it would drop at a certain time, 2 o'clock, and you couldn't watch it till 5. I remember because I used to watch movies at 5 on the dot. But anyway, long and short of it is, it was not a lot of flying in the Superman movie because it was just a black screen. It wasn't as colorful as I thought. I didn't see any of the bad guys. It was weird. It was a weird take on Superman. It was just a black screen, just a black block. So
what you saying? The black man can't fly?
Black man can't fly. You feel me? Anyway, look, I'm gonna let you get back to it, man. I don't want to interrupt too much, but I just wanted to pop in. I saw you live, and I got pissed off. I hate your stupid face. I hate when you're talking. This dude is grabbing his motorcycle for no reason. I don't know what the hell. Sir, your bike's not even that nice. It's not that nice. Like, relax. Also, just lastly, before I go, I just wanted to say, I do not miss doing these things with you. You piss me off all the time. When I hear you ranting, I get mad. I'm glad you're still doing Las Vegas. That's awesome. Podecito is doing well, even though it's busy as hell. All the time.
Podecito's still going strong. I got to record that episode this week. Did you see my wrestling? You saw my wrestling man. I know you saw it.
Which one?
The one about referees holding ladders for people?
I did. I saw part of that. Yeah. I didn't see the whole thing. I saw part of that. I was agreeing with you until I realized what you were saying. And I was like, no, fuck that. I disagree completely. No. I was completely on the other side of the argument.
This motherfucker.
Instantly. It's safety, Brent. It's safety.
He could hear me. I could tell him the sky is blue and he'd go outside and check.
Brent, the sky is not blue. That's the point. You understand what I'm saying to you? It's not.
Look at this.
It's right. He gets it. This guy gets it. He said it's black. See what I'm saying? All right, anyway, I'm out, man. Get back to your review. All right, bro.
See what I have to deal with? I don't want to park underneath that tree. See what I have to deal with? Where was I? Interrupted my flow. Interrupted my stilo. And I forgot where I was at. So I was talking about, I was still in non-spoiler territory. I was talking about some of the aspects of the movie that you can expect. There was some, again, it wasn't perfect. There was some tonal issues in a couple spots, but it's really, again, one tonal issue that's throughout the whole thing. And that's about, let's see. So you do get to see, and can I fit here? Maybe. So the chemistry between Lois and Soups is pretty good. The chemistry between, Jimmy Olsen. That's what I was talking about. Jimmy Olsen, the kid that plays Jimmy Olsen. I like that kid. And he's good in this, movie. He is like the best byproduct of Psych ever. So that kid, he played young Sean, and he was one of the kids that played young Sean in one of the seasons of Psych. And he was really good. And you could see, like, that kid, like, there are some kids that are like, oh, that kid's got, like, talent. Like, that kid's, like he's a naturalistic actor. He's actually really good. And he's continued that. Like, everything I've seen him in, like, that kind of sense of humor continues on with him in everything I've seen him in, including The Righteous Gemstones, which its last season is up on HBO Max now. It's not good. The quality of that show, man, it went down a cliff after season 2. But one of the two best things about that show is the kid that plays Jimmy Olsen here. I looked up his name and I forgot it. But young Sean and baby Billy, Goggins, Walter Goggins on that show, who plays baby Billy. Those are the only two reasons to keep watching Righteous. They're wasting John Goodman, and John Goodman is really good. We're not giving him shit to do. Anyway, those are the only two reasons. But Jimmy Olsen is really good in this movie, and they give him more to do. Historically, I guess that's probably a good thing. Jimmy Olsen historically in Superman, I can't remember him having a whole hell of a lot to do. He's usually often a stand-in for the damsel in distress when Lois is doing something else. So him having something to do here is good. The only other time I've ever seen Jimmy Olsen really have anything to do was in Supergirl, in which case they made him love interest and everything. So that was, fine. That's cool too. But I like him in this movie, and his humor still he's still young Sean. He is still young Sean. Like, he really, and here's another thing, in those couple of snippets of like promotional stuff that I've seen for Superman, and we can talk about the promotional stuff too, because I heard James Gunn is running off at the mouth, and ignore him. And I heard James Gunn say something about Superman is an immigrant too. I've heard that before. Okay, why is that a thing? Why is that a big thing? Why are we bringing that up now? Just promote the freaking, just shut up and promote the movie. Anyway, that goes for all Hollywood. Just shut up and promote the stupid project. Anyway, Young Jimmy, they did this thing with the cast where they do the Turn and Smile from the 80s sitcoms, right? The Family Matters, right? They all do it. Superman does it. Mrs. Maisel does it. They even get Wendell Pierce to do it. Jimmy is the only one who really gets it. Like, there's something underlying that I'm like, he actually gets this. He's not just doing the bit. He really gets this style. He really gets this trope. He really gets where this comes from. He really actually understands it. And I like that about that kid and that actor. And he's really good. He's really good in this. I would say, I don't know that he's necessarily, when I say that he steals it, he's close to stealing it. He's close to stealing it. I think Mr. Terrific is actually pretty good in this movie too. I've seen him and stuff, obviously. I like him and stuff. Nathan Fillion is, I don't know. He's not the Nathan Fillion I remember liking. For some reason, I didn't like him as much in this as other stuff I've seen him in before, including the what was the viral thing he did with Neil Patrick Harris that I thought was really good? The Mr. not Terrific, but whatever it was where he played a superhero. Then there was the Castle, obviously, and Firefly, obviously. I've seen Nathan Fillion and stuff and liked him. I haven't seen The Rookie. But in this one, he's fine, I guess. But I was still sitting there like, I feel like we could have got a better person to play a Green Lantern here. What's going on, E? What's going on, E? E-Money? No, it's cool that you just turned it on. I'm still in non-spoiler territory. I haven't gotten to spoilers yet. I'm talking about the actors and how they did in Superman that I just left. Nathan Fillion was fine. Mr. Terrific was, I think, better than him. Hawk Girl, I don't know who the actress is, but she was fine in that role. Overall, there was no roles in it that I was like, that sucks. Mom, Pa, Kent were fine for what they were doing. Everyone from an acting standpoint was fine. The standout, I think, and this is probably best for a starter movie like this. I don't know if there'll be sequels. Obviously, DC will want sequels. I don't know if they really want to do an extended universe with this. DC's always trying to do extended universes. Extended universes have been a thing for 15 years? Has it been 15 years for extended universes? Something like that, right? Are we close to 15 years? Or maybe more for extended universes? If they want to do an extended universe, I suppose they probably could. There's more to explore. You could explore some more with Supergirl. That would be an interesting one to do. But with that, if they wanted to do that, it is probably best that no one really steals the show here. Superman is the core of the movie. And Superman, the actor who plays Superman, is good as Superman, and he is good as Clark. He's not there will never be anybody as good as Reeve, and that's not a knock on anybody that comes after. That's how good Reeve was. That's how much Reeve really was Superman. But this guy is this guy's good. This guy's good. So it's better than Ghost Dad. Well, that's sacrilege. That's sacrilege. Ghost Dad had a young Omar Gooding and one of the chicks from head of the class. So I'm just saying that's and almost had Raven Simone. But yeah, so this movie was, I think overall Superman was good. It's funny enough, I was leaving the theater, and as I did, this older couple was walking in the opposite direction and saw me with the S on the chest and was like, "You just see it?" I said, "Yes." They said, "Did you like it?" And they actually got my first review of it. And I said, it was good. I said it was good. And if you're going to see it, it was made to be seen in 3D. Like I mentioned with Trey, obviously some people can't handle the 3D. Fine. I get it. my best friend Kyle, one of my best friends Kyle, he can't handle the 3D either, but it's made for it. So maybe IMAX. I didn't see it in IMAX 3D, and I also near the end was like, oh yeah, this is probably made for IMAX 3D. That's only because it's bigger, so it's more encapsulating, but I was encapsulated enough in a regular screen on 3D. So I would maybe say if you can't handle 3D, maybe do IMAX without the 3D. It's probably the closest you can get for the experience if you can, if you're sitting in the right place where you don't have to keep doing this the whole time. But yeah, let's see. After Reeve, the guy from Superman, and Lois would be next. Dude did an amazing job. Yeah, you mean Dean Cain. Yes, Dean Cain doesn't get enough credit. And Dean Cain said something. Dean Cain was one of the people that I saw recently was like, I was wokeness. And it's like, and people are like, we hate Dean Cain now because of his politics. It's like, stop. If you know anything about politics, if you actually know anything about politics, then and you decide that you're going to hate artists for their politics, then you're just not going to like anything ever. You're just not going to follow anybody's anything ever, because most celebrities, especially celebrities, politics are nonsense. So ignore that and look at the art versus the artist. Dean Cain and Lois and Clark was great. Dean Cain was a great actor. Matter of fact, the next episode of the Podecito has Dean Cain as a special guest, and he's terrific on that episode. So follow the Podecito at on every place you listen to your podcast to watch the Las Vegas Rewatch podcast along with me. But yes, he did an amazing job. I need to go back and watch Superboy, the show that was on just before Lois and Clark. I've been seeing some retrospectives on that show pop up, since I guess it's getting more of a popularity in the zeitgeist now. After all these other Superman movies and properties, now the Superboy show gets some popularity. So I'm gonna have to go back and find at least some episodes. I think I might be able to find. I'll find it. If it's somewhere on the internet, I'll find it. I'll go back and rewatch that to get take on that. But also, you know what? The kid from Smallville, he was good too. I think the kid. There really haven't been bad Supermen. It's just been Reeve is just so. Reeve is the mark. Reeve is the 10. He's the mark. Like Christopher Reeve is the mark, and everyone else has to try to get as close to him as possible. So, but this new kid is good. This new kid is really good, and he really does encapsulate a lot of the goodness of Superman that you expect to see, while not being. There's there's an end credit thing that's kind of trying to make him the Boy Scout again, like kind of a little hokey, almost Captain America hokey-ish, but it's not in the rest of the movie, which is like the Boy Scout is still kind of there, but they made it more palatable and less, if this makes any sense, cartoony, made him more of a real person in this movie, that's actually a real good person in this movie. So that works. I do remember, and this isn't a spoiler, so the scene where, because this was in the trailer, and this was one of the big early things with the trailer, was when the crowd throws a can at Superman, and in the trailer he blinked, and people were like, Superman wouldn't even feel that, and so they changed it so that he doesn't blink. It's still that he doesn't blink, and I still don't like that change. I liked him registering the hit. It doesn't have to actually hurt him, but registering the hit and the emotion in that blink of the world turning on Superman. That makes sense. That makes sense from a emotional standpoint. And this movie needed that, because there are lots of emotional standpoints in this movie, and this is one of the critiques that I've heard, that don't have time to register. And I like that. There's no reason to take that out. They could have kept that in. And if we get a gun cut of him where they put that back in, then great. But they could have kept that in. What else can I talk about without spoiling the movie? The costume was fine. I didn't hate the costume. The effects were, like I said, overall very good, especially the flying stuff. Near the end, the fight does get a little shaky cammy to maybe hide a couple things, but overall it's fairly good. From a wrestling standpoint, there is a move in here that I would not be surprised if I don't see, especially indie guys, doing as a counter to a move. And also, Lex Luthor in this movie is a pretty good base for a heel manager. I would say that. He's a very good base for a heel manager. So if Christian Rosenthal is out there, I'm sure he's not like, he doesn't like me for some reason. So Christian Rosenthal, I liked him, but he doesn't like me. So if Christian Rosenthal is here, he wants to use that for his managerial stuff, he probably should. That's a fairly good base to start from for Lex Luthor. All right. I think that's as close as I can get on the non-spoiler stuff. Would I recommend it? Yes. In 3D, preferably. I would say it's a good movie in 3D. So, we're about to get to the spoiler territory. Here we go, kids. We're about to get to spoiler territory. I will give you a warning right now before we get to spoiler territory. So, after I take this sip, we will dip into spoiler land. All right. So, the movie starts with the scene that we saw in the trailer to begin with. So that's not really much of a, with the teaser even. So that's not really much of a spoiler where Krypto saves Superman and drags him off. What we don't see after the teaser is that he drags him to the Fortress of Solitude, where robots are tending to the Fortress of Solitude and helping to heal Superman. Here's the first part where I talked about earlier in the non-spoiler section. We don't get an explanation. We don't get an explanation for these robots. I'm sure there's some lore somewhere. I'm sure there's something in the comics. I'm sure there's something of something that I don't know, because I don't know. I know some Superman stuff. I don't know all the Superman stuff. I damn sure don't know about these robots. Where the hell did these robots come from? Why are they tending to the Fortress of Solitude? Why are they doing such a good, prominent job of doing it with British accents and stuff? And then there's a portion of it where one of the robots talks about how he, while he's trying to tend to Krypto, and Krypto's a bad dog running around. By the way, James Gunn was talking about, they put Krypto in there as a bad dog, and he's doing all these different things because I had a asshole dog who was running around my compound and ruining things and stuff. Okay, sure, and that is a through line through the movie, but it's not the worst through line. It's not the best through line. It's fitting near the end, but also near the end, it's like, well, why doesn't something else happen? But we'll get there when we get there. So one of the robots, I guess the main robot 4, is talking about how he doesn't have any emotions to care for the dog, and how he wishes it's almost like he goes on this thing of if I only had a heart. Basically, he's basically the Tin Man. If I only had a heart, I don't have emotions. Near the end, he says something about I don't have a name. He says, I guess 4, and Superman says, I guess 4 is a name, and the robot says, so is Gary. So then you do have emotions. You have the emotion of wanting. Wanting is an emotion, right? I want a name. I want humanity. That is an emotion. You're more human than you think, Data, right? Like that, the whole robot is more human than it thinks trope is here. And for some reason, that stuck out to me in this mythical movie about this space alien who can fly and has laser eyes. That came out to me like, why are we doing that? But partially probably because I had no idea where the freaking robots came from in the first place. So we don't know where the robots come from in the first place, but they're here anyway. They're healing Superman. They put him up toward the yellow sun, toward the light, which is his recharge, essentially like Captain Planet, where you wipe the dirt off the planet symbol on his chest and he can feel the rays of the sun and feel better. And they play a message from Superman's family, his parents, as they say that they sent him off to Earth to a suitable place to be a good man. And the end part of the message is cut off, right? And that's going to come up later too. So then Superman goes back after the battle that he had with this big mega robot and we come back to Metropolis, to the city area, and we find out that Superman has inserted himself into geopolitics, which is an interesting thing because you would think at a certain point, and not only at a certain point, he always has, truth, justice, and the American way, right? That's inserting yourself in geopolitics. So or being inserted in geopolitics, being in the middle, whether you inserted yourself or not. That is being in the middle of geopolitics. So he put himself in the middle of this conflict between two countries, but the big robot, we very soon find out, is basically controlled by LexCorp. And you may be thinking to yourself, why are we allowing Lex Luthor to just run around and beat up Superman legally? Like, why is no government stepping in or whatever? Oh, it's because Lex Luthor is working with the government. Okay, which, if you know anything about politics, is not actually unusual. That actually happens every day. That's actually how the world works. These evil people are in bed with the government. That's actually how it works. Like, how can he get away with that? Because he's paying to get away with that. That's why. So that's not out of the ordinary. But Lex Luthor is trying to, and in doing so, he sent one of his emissaries to track Superman to where he landed in the snow and saw the trail that led to the Fortress of Solitude. And the emissary actually sees the Fortress of Solitude sink into the ice in Antarctica and is told to come back to LexCorp after they think she thinks she's gonna drill in, and Lex says, no, come back, we'll figure it out later. So they do come back and figure it out later with Lex Luthor, the chick that found Superman, and the other guy that was in the suit, the big Superman Buster suit. But before we get there, we go back to the Daily Planet. Superman's there. He and Lois have a minor skirmish about Superman joining geopolitics in the big battle or whatever. And then turns out that they're seeing each other. They've been dating for a while. And Superman's in her apartment, cooking her breakfast for dinner, which is his favorite, not hers. And there's another teaser about them arguing back and forth in the apartment. And that's what it stems from. In context, that makes sense. And I've also heard that you've seen the trailer, you've seen them fighting with each other or having the argument out of context. It doesn't make sense. It makes sense in this context. What doesn't make sense is that Superman is in there, he's trying to make a surprise dinner for Lois, and she's happy about it or whatever, and she says something like, you can't keep interviewing yourself, and Superman says, well, why don't you interview me? I'll let you interview me. And she says, yeah? He says, yeah. Right now? That's where you screwed up, Clark. That's where you screwed up. No, not right now. Because right now, I'm doing something nice for you. Right now, we are in this romantic moment. Right now, we have the feel-goods. Right now, we have this hair-down moment. Right now, I'm off the clock. Right now, you're off the clock. Let's be off the clock to Clark. Let's be off the clock and on the Clark together. That's what we want to be. And also, it'll give you more of time to structure the kinds of questions you want to ask, etc. We can do that in a more we're both reporters. We understand how interviews go. Say that. Don't just not right now. No, danger, Will Robinson. No, but he does it anyway. And in doing so, he's not prepared. She's over-prepared. He's not prepared for the interview that goes back and forth. They talk about what can be used, what can't be used, was on the record, off the record, and that's where that conflict comes to, and it ends with him leaving and her saying, I told you this wasn't going to work. I'm not good at relationships. That's an interesting point, especially for Lois. But, again, it's slightly undermined by other points in the movie where they're supposed to be more tender and they're supposed to be in more of a relationship with each other and such. It's underlined, it's undercoded by that. So we cut back to Lex. This is slightly out of order because I had a lot of stuff happen before we got to this point. But so they're together, but they're having a fight. In them having a fight, Superman has to go deal with something else that Lex Luthor has set up. He sends out. So this is it. So he goes to I would have kept Ryan Reynolds. Yes. Correct, Eric. Eric says, I don't like Green Lantern. I would have kept Ryan Reynolds. I would have too. In that movie, while I was in the theater, I was like, it's a shame Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. because he would fit here. He would way more fit in as Green Lantern now in this movie than he did when he played it then, because they didn't know what they were doing with Green Lantern yet, or any of it. But in this realm, Ryan Reynolds as Green Lantern fits better. Really, almost anyone else as Green Lantern fits better than Nathan Fillion. I didn't particularly care for him that much in this movie, to be perfectly honest. And that's just, I like historically Nathan Fillion, but I didn't necessarily care for him much in this movie. So Supes' Fortress of Solitude is invaded by Lex Luthor and the emissary he sent out to find Superman. The reason why she can do all that stuff is that she has nanotech in her, and she uses her nanotech to transform anything she wants to be on the spot, including chainsaw hands that she sends spinning out to the robots who are trying to defend the Fortress of Solitude. And at that time, you're thinking to yourself, how the hell did they get into the Fortress of Solitude? How the hell did the Fortress of Solitude raise up for them? How did that happen? They shouldn't have been able to find it. There should be protocols against them being able to find the Fortress of Solitude. But they found it, and they got in, and they wrecked the joint. And Crypto was there, the dog, and he got nanotech helmet all over his face. And it almost looked like they were going to suffocate the dog, because it was like all over his head. And I'm sitting there like, did they kill the dog? Like, did they kill the dog? Like, did they John Wick it? Did they kill the dog? That would, but Boy Scout, can you imagine? They haven't, I was like, but they can't yet. They could probably kill the dog in like the second or third one to try to push Superman to go John Wick. But I'm like, they can't do that in the first one. Can they? Can they? But the nanotech's all over his face, and they hack into the computer, and we're finally able to see what the end of Superman's parents' message is, or we're not able to see it, but she gets it and says, "Oh, I got it," and they take off, but the Fortress of Solitude is destroyed. While they're doing that, they put a distraction down for Superman, this little muncher thing, which I think is a character in one of the Superman or some of the DC land. I think I've seen like that kind of character before. Like it almost looks like Stitch, but it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Like it's a small little thing, like maybe 2 feet, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and starts taking over Metropolis. And that's when the Justice Gang comes in, which is with Nathan Fillion as Green Lantern, who not great. Mr. Terrific, who is better than that stupid T on his face suggests. By the end of it, I like Mr. Terrific. I hate that stupid T on his face. That is ugly. That is just ugly. And I've seen a couple different incarnations of him in comics and stuff. It's never been good. It's always been stupid. It's always looked ridiculous. It's always looked so stupid on his face. That just giant T has always looked dumb. And it is never not. It's never not looked dumb, and it's always looked dumb. It's the best, I guess, incarnation it's looked, but it's always looked stupid. It's always looked so dumb. This guy's supposed to be ridiculously smart, and that's the best he can come up with. Just stupid. And Hawk Girl comes in, and they take on the monster. They help Superman take on the monster. Superman is trying to not kill the monster. He's trying to take it someplace. And I keep thinking to myself, I'm like, all right, why doesn't Superman like just try to drag it like off the planet or whatever? And he later talks about how he just wanted to take it to like an intergalactic zoo or something. But the Justice Gang kill it. The Justice Gang kill it. And while they're killing it, Superman is saving all the humans around. And as he's after he saves all the humans around, and everybody comes to Superman because Superman saved all the humans, the Justice Gang just killed the monster, but Superman actually saved all the humans around them and tried to save as much of the property around them. And they do talk about all the property damage that builds up. You see the news reports happen on the screens around them, generally speaking, and they talk about millions in property damage. So I feel like that's going to be a through line if they do a sequel or two. The property damage amount that they do to the city. Metropolis is a wreck after this movie's over. Anyway, as they're cleaning up, or as they're finishing up with the monster, then the news comes up on the screens that drops with Lex Luthor at Michael Ian Black's place. Michael Ian Black is playing, for lack of a better term, I guess most people are going to compare him to like Alex Jones, but realistically, he's any cable news host on any side. He's either or. And he has Lex Luthor on, showing the later footage that we see of the Kal-El and wife talking about what Superman was actually sent to Earth to do. And essentially, Superman was sent to Earth to be Ultraman. He was essentially sent to Earth to dominate it and rule it as a god. And at least according to this footage. Now, we never in this movie see that the footage is doctored. We never hear that the footage is doctored. Superman just accepts as gospel that that's what the footage actually is. The world just accepts it and is very, very quick with the news reactions and stuff. Like, super quick. And this is part of the problem. So, like, pacing of the movie isn't the problem. The movie itself runs along very briskly. Like, not too fast, not too slow. But the pacing of the events in the movie seem off. So Superman sees this on somebody's phone that's nearby, and immediately, as soon as Superman sees it on his phone, then we cut to that scene where somebody throws the can at him. Like, it's not even like it's been a few days and it's ruminating and he's drowning content, he's drowning on the news. It's like immediate. It's like he hands the phone back and he almost immediately, because he and the Justice Gang have to go into a building to talk it out. That's immediately what was happening. Like, there was no build to it. It just immediately happened. It's like a smash cut to, not even smash cut because it was still in the same scene. It was, and that's a problem. That's one of the problems with this movie. I talked about the reviews that I've seen and the different things they talk about with the problems in the movie. This is it. The main problem that keeps running through this movie is pacing of events, not the timing of the events as in terms of how fast it goes, but the timing of the events in that we get to A to D immediately. Or A to C immediately. There should be a B in there. There should be a B. Or at least A to B, and there should be an A too. You know what I mean? Like, there should be a transition, right? Like, it's like, the best thing I can say it's like is if you wipe out in GTA, leave the hospital, and then catch a cab back to your house or starting point, checkpoint, whatever, right? The screen blacks out and it comes back up when you're at your checkpoint. As opposed to what we need is actually seeing you ride to the checkpoint so that we can hear the conversation that you're having to get you. You know what I mean? Like, it's something else should happen. There should be another step in between there, and very often it's not in this movie. And that's one of the big things where it's not. So him and the Justice Gang talk in the nearby tower and talk it out, and Superman says, I don't know, I need to clear my head, I don't know. And the Justice Gang is like, we're here to stop you. And he's like, oh, I gotta go. And so, but in that conversation, Green Lanterns put a green field around the building so that the civilians don't come in and try to trash the place or whatever, or see what they're talking about or whatever. But Superman just takes off, meaning that he broke through the Green Lantern's green field. But we're not going to talk about that? Okay, we're not going to talk about that. So Superman goes to clear his head. He goes to, where does he go? Does he go to, no, he doesn't go. Where does he go? He just flies around. He just flies around. Which actually brings us to another issue with the movie. Because, hey, I'm in spoiler territory. Which also brings us to another issue with the movie. Because then Superman comes back to the house, to his apartment, and flies it through the window in his apartment. And there's obviously a scene of something happening behind him. There's a giant, like, eye alien, and the Justice Gang are fighting that big giant eye alien. As they're fighting that big giant eye alien, it's supposed to just be something else that's happened in the background. And Superman says, oh, that's just a space nymph, they got it. And because he's talking to Lois. Lois broke into his apartment now, and they're reconciling or talking things out. Again, that's supposed to be a very tender moment between Lois and Clark. That's supposed to be a good relationship moment between the two of them. I'm sorry. I see you're going through a lot. They're talking bad. Oh, yeah, I get it, babe. Right? Whatever tender moment emotions they're supposed to have should be hashed out then in that moment that's supposed to be good. Here's the problem. They're having this tender moment back and forth while the space nymph or whatever is still fighting it out with the Justice gang, including the Green Lanterning a giant bat and just repeatedly bashing the thing over the top over and over again. In the background, we see it as the shot's profiled here, you see the space nymph over here. And if you see a shot from Soup's point of view and you're looking at Mrs. Maisel, you see the reflection of the battle on the TV screen. It's taking away, so this was the other thing I kept hearing about was Marvel humor, was, Guardians of the Galaxy humor, was this, you can't let a moment sit, and you can't let emotion sit moment, because it has to end in a joke. That's the problem here. And that happens a couple of different times in this movie. Yes, it is an issue. And I know maybe you want to do something different with Superman. You shouldn't. At this point, you should go back to the basics of Superman and let moments sit. That's part of why Reeves is the pinnacle, because the moments that are allowed to sit allow you to connect with Reeves as Clark and or Superman. The moment that of the relationship moments between Clark and Lois, that might be one of the most pivotal, where you need them to live in that moment. You need that. And they don't let it sit. They don't let it sit. And there's another one later on. So they reconcile. Soup, or and Soups tells her that he loves her, but then he got to take off because they found. So in the meantime, Lex Luthor has gotten interdimensional travel perfected. He's built portals that fit in between different dimensions. That not only can take him from one point on the map to another point on the map, but take him to different dimensions. He's got this interdimensional prison that he's got that includes aliens from all over the place and petty ex-girlfriends. And so he's using that interdimensional thing and has a setup for the interdimensional travel. And what does he do? Does he lure Soups to it? How does he lure Soups? I think he does lure Superman to that place. Superman turns himself in. That's what it is. Superman, that's how he leaves that scene. He says he's going to turn himself in because the Department of Justice has put out a warrant for him. So Superman goes to turn himself in and turns himself into Lex Luthor, who runs the Planetary Justice or whatever. And then they take him to the interplanetary, interspecies place. Right, the big black dark hole, so that you don't see all the other issues that they have with CG. And they put him in a cell with the guy who can manifest any material ever, including but not limited to kryptonite, which he does reluctantly in the cell with Superman. And so, in this interdimensional place, which apparently has oxygen, I guess, because Lex Luthor can walk around there free as a jaybird. He's locked Superman in one of these giant cells and is going to try to get information from him. And while he does that, Lois goes to the Justice gang and tries to get them to help. They don't want to do it. Mr. Terrific relents and does actually go and help her. And in the moment, again, they have to yuck it up because Mr. Terrific... They're going to try to take Mr. Terrific's giant flying machine, but it's got this long garage door, and it goes very slowly, and Mrs. Maisel has to talk about it, and it's like, okay, I guess, but we just got through the comedy scene. This should actually kind of be a little bit kick-ass. But, okay, so Mr. Terrific after saying that he put nano trackers in everybody around him, including Superman, was able to track Superman to where he was, which was the portal area, but it falls off a cliff from there because he's in another dimension. The nano trackers can't track Superman because he's not in our realm anymore. But they find the place, and then we see Mr. Terrific with the different orbs everywhere, and that's a very cool scene, actually, in between there. It doesn't help Mrs. Maisel, though. There's one, so he puts her in like a protective cone while he fights every LexCorp person there, and in doing that, there's these shots that are like this close to Mrs. Maisel's face, and in the shield, especially like with the red, it makes her look a lot older, and with the makeup that they put on her and in 3D, it makes her look a lot older than she is, which did not help. And the rest of the movie, she looks fine. But in that scene, that close up with that lighting, it made her look a lot older than she was, and not even older, like it washed her out. It wasn't good for like her skin color. It wasn't a good. I wouldn't put that on my reel if I were her. That's not, and they let that go by too. That's your leading lady, but she did not look great in that scene. That was bad everything. It didn't look good for her. But the rest of the movie, she's fine. They try to follow into the dimension, but they can't travel. I guess the portal stops at a certain place, and you need like a traveler to take you. And again, so Lex Luthor is rich enough and powerful enough to not only get interdimensional travel down, but to have interdimensional slaves and employees there to help him along the way, including a riverboat runner. Anyway, somewhere along the way, we talk about him facilitating this war between these two countries, and on the surface it's like, okay, sure, he's a warmonger, he's a military-industrial complexes, it makes sense for him to be on both sides of the battle. Historically, that's how billionaires and trillionaires have done it. They've been on both sides of the battle. They've been on both sides of major wars, including World War II. Bet you didn't know that, did you, kids? Yes, including World War II. Been on both sides of the battle, supplying ammo to both sides of the battle in order for them to profit. So, sure. Okay, fine. Sure, that's his evil take. But somewhere along the way, Jimmy Olsen finds out through Lex's girlfriend, or supposed his girlfriend, who we see early on in the movie, as she takes selfies around LexCorp, that all of the evidence that he needs to put out a report to tarnish Lex's reputation and show the world that Lex Luthor is really super evil. Not like people don't actually know that. And how he got all these people around him to do the dirty work and try to take down Superman, that I don't know. Because sure, but I guess money talks. Money talks. We'll just leave it there. Money talks. But so Jimmy Olsen gets the information from Lex's girlfriend, who's actually in love with Jimmy Olsen. Sure. And actually, they do establish early on in the movie, because they got some young girls in the paper office that are just swooning over Jimmy Olsen. That just they can't take their eyes off of Jimmy Olsen. So they establish that there's something about Jimmy Olsen that the girls just easy, big, oh, down boy. There's something about Jimmy Olsen that the girls just can't resist. And so that includes this vapid airhead of a chick that's with Lex Luthor, at least for the moment. And so along the way, she gives him information and he has her in her phone as mutant toes. And that's the reason why he broke it off with her, because her toes are ugly. And sure, I guess everybody's got a thing. So Jimmy gets the information that will tarnish Lex Luthor, and Jimmy and Lois put the pieces together that Lex Luthor is actually not only working both sides, but is planning to take over the smaller country that he's helping to demolish and become king of that land. And when I find that out, I'm thinking and when they reveal that in the movie, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, wait a minute, time out. He's perfected interdimensional travel, but he gives a damn about some small little country is vaguely brown, I guess, because we go to the actual land and the people in the small village are some reminiscent of some kind of brown but they're right next to a country where the leader is some reminiscent of some kind of not brown. So again, which war you want to talk about? So he wants to get this patch of dirt in the desert that bad that he's willing, but why? He's got interdimensional travel. And they kind of flesh it out a little bit near the end where it's more wealth than anything. He's going to try to build this high-tech utopia and all this other stuff. And it's like, he could probably do that legally. He doesn't have to do the war part. He could probably eminent domain shit and do that anyway. He didn't have to do any of this shit. People do it all the time. The countries do it all the time. Wait, the U.S. does it all the time. You don't have to do any of this shit. But okay. Okay, fine. While all that's happening, Superman. So he turned Superman and Mr. Terrific. He breaks out. He finds out that the guy who's doing the kryptonite doesn't want to really do it, and Lex brings in a baguette cart driver who was nice Superman earlier in the movie and shoots him in front of Superman. And yeah, and shoots him in front of Superman. And then to ask questions of where Superman really came from. Where have you been hiding all this time? And Superman's not giving the information, even though he's drowning in kryptonite, in like 2 feet away from him. And the guy doing the kryptonite sees the murder and cries because he didn't want to do all that. So when Lex Luthor leaves, he puts the kryptonite away and he tries to help Superman. He tries to create a sun enough effect to help Superman gain some of his powers back, because he can't recreate a sun, but he can recreate elements from the sun, and he does it enough so that Superman heals himself, is able to break out and save this guy's son who's sitting in the cell across. Is supposed to be held up as a stick in front of this guy so that he does what Lex Luthor wants. So Superman saves the baby and has a baby in his hand, and as they're passing to the cell, they're able to see where Krypto went, and Krypto's is held in this giant case chasing space squirrels, right? So they took the nanotech off of him and he's fine. So Superman, as he's taking off, he clears the area, and he and the guy with the kryptonite leave, take the baby and take off. And I guess Superman has to hold the baby because the guy in his form can't, in order for him to fly, he can't hold the baby at the same time. So Superman has to hold the baby, this ugly ass baby, this ugly ass CG alien baby. Superman holds this ugly ass CG alien baby while fighting all of Lex Luthor's henchmen in the makeshift interdimensional prison, while going to find Krypto, and he does. And in between, on the floor there's this, not nanotech, there's this antimatter lake that'll demolish almost anybody that goes in there, right? Except Superman, because he's Superman. So Superman is in the lake with the henchmen as they're trying to kill Superman or drown him or whatever, even though the antimatter thing is killing them too. But he's holding the baby up, but none of the nanomatter gets on the baby at all. And this is where they shaky cam the shit out of this movie. This is where they shaky, because the CG and the digital stuff, this is where it really gets not great. This is where it really gets very cartoonish, not even cartoonish. This is where it gets not great. And there's a reason why this land is so dark, and it's so that you don't see a lot of it. And so at the last minute, Superman is able to get towards, and the antimatter sucking itself towards a black hole. So Superman and the dog and the guy with the kryptonite guy and the baby are this close to the black hole, but Superman turns in the right direction and use a super breath. His super breath is so strong that it's able to blow them all away from the black hole. From the black hole that's sucking everything into it. He's able to use his super breath to suck himself out of the black hole with the people involved, while Mr. Terrific and Lois look down and see all the action and go towards that hole, the interdimensional place, where they able to track him down and found him, but the compartment is contracting on itself because it's not supposed to stay open for too long. But they're able to get through, and all of them are saved. But it takes a lot out of Superman, and so Superman is taken by Lois to the Kent farm, And this is another pivotal moment where they should have taken their time with Lois and Clark, where Lois comes with the Mr. Terrific ship onto the Kent's farmland, and they come and get Clark out of the ship and bring him up to his old bedroom. And Lois brings him up to the old bedroom with Pa Kent. And they lay him on the bed. And this is on his old bed. And Lois immediately looks around his room. Like, like getting to know her boyfriend that way. When she should have been concerned for seeing Superman weak, we'll say it for the first time. Because in the title scene, the first thing it says is that, we have metahumans for 3,000 years. We've had Superman for 30. Superman has been around for 30. Superman has been existing for 30 years. He revealed himself 3 years ago. And he just lost this battle. This is the first battle he's lost 3 minutes ago. So, this the first 3 minutes ago was the first battle he lost. Battle he lost, not war, but battle he lost. Lois had never seen him look, because the next time Lois sees him is at the Daily Planet, is as Clark Kent, not banged up or nothing. So Lois has never seen her boyfriend in that weakened state. Ladies, when you see your man in a weakened, fragile, hurt, vulnerable state for the first time, is that not something that you take in or repel from? Or is that not a strong emotional moment? Is that not a strong emotional moment for the man to, whether he knows it or not? And in this case, we should know it because of the audience, to know that she's seeing Superman not be her Superman not be Superman. She's seeing him weakened. She's seeing him hurt. Should we not take that moment in for a second? We're not just do a whole 2-hour diatribe about what it means for man to be weak and what's real weakness and what's real strength and all that other shit. I just need half a second for her to register that Superman is hurt, that her boyfriend is hurt, that this guy she thought was made of steel, that she thought was whatever she thought was what, is feeling vulnerable, is weakened, is beaten, has been beaten up. Even though Mr. Terrific says he'll be fine. I need to see that moment. And that's the perfect time, because she doesn't have time to register that moment before then, because she's steering Mr. Terrific's ship as Mr. Terrific is trying to fix the portal, and so she can't really register it. And she's carrying Clark with Pa Kent, so again, she can't really register it. When she is able to lay him on the bed and see him weakened, that's when we should see it. But we don't get to see that. You know what we cut to? We cut to a picture of a fictitious band that we saw them talk about in the previous interaction between them, talk about not being punk rock, and as another fictitious joke band. A fictitious like Green Day that's like fake punk and is supposed to be real punk, but he likes it and she's real punk and she doesn't get. We get a call back to this minor joke in this other scene that didn't need jokes, but was filled with it in the background. That's the problem with this movie. So when I talk about the chemistry between Lois and Clark, that's the problem I talk about with the chemistry between Lois and Clark. If they didn't have those moments, if we had the sincere moments between, because there's only a couple of them in this movie that's really and truly between the two of them before we get to the end where they kiss, because they kiss at the end. Before we get there, there's really only a couple in between there. The first one ends in them fighting. So we need the other two to be better composed than they turned out to be. We need them to be not even better composed. We need them to be more sincere. If ever you are allowed schmaltzy crap in your superhero media, it's with Superman. It's with the big blue Boy Scout. It's with Supes. So if ever I am supposed to care and root for a couple, it's supposed to be Lois and Supes. But they James Gunned it up. They Marveled it up. They made it so that womp womp, waka waka waka. And we already have a joke couple. The joke couple is Jimmy Olsen and Eve, I think her name is. The Lex Luthor's girlfriend. Who's still in love with Jimmy. That's the joke couple. Although Jimmy treats her like shit. Jimmy treats her like shit. But you kind of like you've ever been in the dating pool. You've been to people that you've dated. You're like, how the hell did I get in this situation? I gotta get out of here. You spend enough time in the dating pool, like you do that. But the sincere couple, it should be them, and to a lesser extent, the Kents. And even the Kents, like the Kents feel like more of a lived-in old couple. So if any couple we should want to root for and see more sincerely, it's them. But they trick it off. So, but Clark has a nice touching moment with his pa when he wakes up, and then he sees what's happening in Metropolis with the split, because Lex Luthor has set off another thing that's splitting the universes, and it's leading straight to Metropolis. Meanwhile, he's still going on with his plan to take over this little patch of dirt again, even though he's got interdimensional travel perfected. But okay, so long story short, these little kids put up the Superman flag, but they don't get Superman. They get the Justice Gang instead, and the Justice Gang come in and they win the war for the small guys. Superman's in Metropolis. He can't stop the rift. Right? Can he? He tries to stop the rift, but instead he's met with the other guy that's in the super suit that beat him up earlier. And we find out why he beat him up earlier. So Lex Luthor's got all these different plans and playbooks to take out Superman. Again, could very much fit in with professional wrestling managers, because it's very reminiscent of the York Foundation from WCW, where Alexandria York had her computer, which was really just I don't even remember what it was, but it just had like the keyboard. But it was supposed to be a computer. It's supposed to help her strategize what moves to make in professional wrestling so that her wrestlers won all the time. That's what Lex Luthor. That's essentially what they had. Lex Luthor is essentially Alexandria York. Lex Luthor is the York Foundation from WCW. Holy shit! That would make his big Hulk buster, Superman buster, Terrence Taylor. That's funny. That's hilarious. Anyway, but that's exactly what it is. And Lex is putting out plays, 3B, YA, whatever, that's beating up Superman, is actually working. And we find out why, because he's gone through different Superman battles, and he's scraped up some of Superman's DNA. And that's how he was able to get into the Fortress of Solitude. That's how he was able to create this guy. Basically, so he's the York Foundation, and they bring back, it's not Nuclear Man, but it's basically Nuclear Man. Because he's got Superman's DNA from all these different battles, and he's created another Superman who's dumber and just takes orders. It's Nuclear Man. It's basically Nuclear Man, except he has a scratch Superman to beat him. He just beats him because he's basically Superman. And so the two of them battle it out, yada, 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 until Superman suddenly remembers that Krypto exists and calls for Krypto right at the last minute, and Krypto comes in and saves Superman and starts beating up all the nano cameras that allow Lex Luthor to see the battle that's around. Now, mind you, Luthor doesn't think to put a camera in the stupid suit. He doesn't think about putting a camera in the super suit that he's dictating around the world, like an actual head cam in there. He doesn't think to put just a stupid 3-point whatever webcam in his shit. The fucking Google Glass in the motherfucker. He doesn't need to put that in there. He's got to have these floating orbs of cameras all around. But okay, fine. So Superman gets rid of the cameras, and he beats up the other guy, the other fake Superman. How's he end up completely destroyed? Oh, he ends up in a black hole. Because the interdimensional thing is breaking and going into Metropolis, and has gone through Metropolis and creating a black hole. But it's not sucking stuff through it somehow. But Superman sends him. Where is the black hole? I don't know. I'm thinking about it. Where was the black hole centered? Because this is part of where the shaky cam is. Because you don't really know disorientation, where things are. Now I'm thinking about it. So the interdimensional thing was splitting. It was creating an interdimensional rift. Was it through the core of the Earth? Then the Earth doesn't work anymore. How was that possible? How was that happening? But it ends in Superman sending fake nuclear man through to the black hole, and then going to LexCorp and having LexCorp, because the thing is too complicated for Mr. Terrific, who's the super genius, to hack into and fix himself. He needs the actual code in LexCorp to stop it, and he and Superman go, after they beat fake Superman, go to LexCorp, and Mr. Terrific is able to stop it. He's able to figure it out and stop it while he's there with the code. And him and Superman and Lex are face to face with each other. This is the second time. The first time is in the office early in the movie after Krypto's been kidnapped. And this is the second time, and he and Lex talk, and Superman, and the whole time they're talking, Lex is talking about why he's jealous of Superman, etc. And then there's supposed to be this epic scene with the villain and the hero face to face with each other for the last time in the movie, nose to nose. What's gonna happen? Lex Luthor, the smartest man, Superman, the strongest man. Is Superman finally gonna snap and kill Lex? Is Lex gonna come up with something last minute to somehow magically get away or something? No, Krypto's just gonna run in and tackle him. Because Krypto's a bad dog. He's not even a bad dog, he's an untrained dog. Krypto's gonna just run and tackle him and tear him apart. Like, not tear him apart, but like, play with him and turn him around and stuff. And I'm sitting here thinking, yes, they should hire me as a consultant. I am available for consulting. But I'm sitting here thinking, how in the world has Krypto not killed Lex Luthor? If Krypto in this movie is untrained, then that means that Krypto in this movie is nowhere near as good as, like, a trained attack dog. A trained attack dog knows how hard to bite, where to bite, right? Knows the different commands. Krypto's not that good. So Krypto's just gonna bite down on whatever he's got. And at one point, I think he's got Lex's leg or arm spinning him around. Why is Lex still have an arm or a leg or whatever he bit on? How the hell did that happen? How? Because from the comics, we know that Spider-Man holds back his punches. We know that Superman holds back his punches because they have the cognitive ability to do so. Krypto probably does, but he's not trained enough to do so. And we saw him play with Superman earlier, gnaw at him, bite him, and Superman's like, ow, ow, ow. How the hell, if the Superman can say ow, 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 how is Lex Luthor not dead from these bites? But somehow he's not. Somehow he's not. They stopped the rift. Not only did they stop the rift, so the dimension is going like this, but it then comes back like this. Now, it doesn't fix everything. So, like, the buildings still have, like, a split in them, and at the end credit scene, because there's an end credit scene. Here's August is getting hot in here again. On the end credit scene, one of the buildings is like this, and that's the end credit scene where Superman and Mr. Terrific are looking at it, and Mr. Terrific is getting a little shit from Superman, and he's like, oh, how to be perfect? And Superman's just looking at it like, it's not like this. It should be like that, but it's like that. And Superman's like, I could be such a jerk sometimes. And that's the Boy Scout part of it. But anyway, show's over. Lex is arrested. Oh, and they reveal the news. So this whole time, the Daily Planet team is in Mr. Terrific's contraption, and they're sending out the story to whatever blog they're on. Now, apparently, maybe Mr. Terrific's thing's got a Wi-Fi thing on it. Where the hell they get these Wi-Fi? Is hotspots? Where the fuck they get their hotspots? The dimensions are opening. What Wi-Fi is working? What towers are still up in Metropolis? Who's still got a hotspot on their thing, on their phone, to be able to send that out? anyway. Sure, it happens anyway. It just happens anyway, it gets sent out, and the world then finds out about Lex Luthor's evil plans. And so that's how Lex Luthor, so LexCorp even splits, but LexCorp's office is detachable and able to fly. And that's how Superman tracks him down and finds him, and they get in that confrontation. So Lex Luthor leaves, and as he's being hauled, here's another thing with the timing. As he's being hauled in, we see the Planet Corps freeing at least the humanoid, actually at least a lot of the prisoners from Lex Luthor's prison, his interdimensional prison, including an army of monkeys hooked up to headsets so that they can be online tweeting out mean things about Superman. What? First off, again, you don't have AI to do that. You don't just have bots to do that. We have bots. They're all over Facebook right now. We have bots saying stupid shit on social media every day. And Facebook groups are crawling with them. And if you get into a couple arguments with them till you figure out, that's a bot. They're all over the place. You don't have bots? You don't have a warehouse with servers in fucking Altadena? Just that shit for you, Lex? You have to have interdimensional monkeys do that? And then they get freed. Whoever's doing the freeing, they just free the freaking monkeys? They don't wrangle them. They don't put them in a zoo. They just free them. They're just out in the streets. They're just out in the streets of Metropolis that's already been devastated by all these different events and the buildings crumbling and the interdimensional street splitting and people dying all over the place and most people not making it. Superman saves one chick in a fucking car. He saves one woman on the bridge. All the other cars, all the other backlots, all the other evacuations of Metropolis, they all dead. But Superman's able to save one woman. So all that, and you free interdimensional monkeys that have just been online forever. You just free them. No consequence at all, you just free them. And another thing, the petty girlfriend that Lex locked up, as she's coming off the plane, she just happens to meet her mom. Her mom just happens to be there waiting for her after all these years. Again, how do you contact people in a time like that? How do you know the mom is still there? How do you know she was from Metropolis? How did she know she was getting off the thing? How's the timing of all this stuff? Again, the pacing of the movie was fine. The timing of shit that they did in the movie didn't make sense. In elements like that. And it didn't take, it's not like, you're thinking too hard. In the moment, I'm like, where the fuck did her mom come from? Why would her mom be there? What? There's something missing. Why is that there? What? How did that happen? But it happened. And it ends with Superman and Lois kissing in the middle of the Daily Planet, and he flies up and she says, I love you too. And that's how the movie ends. And there's a mid-credit scene where Supes is looking from the moon at Earth, and the sun's going behind it, and Krypto's hugging Superman. And Supergirl shows up at the end as Superman is in the Fortress of Solitude. And I guess the robots healed themselves, repaired themselves. And again, as Superman was coming in the first time, he was introduced to a new robot who was like, oh my God, he looked at me. They have emotions. Clark, they have fucking emotions. And so Supergirl comes in at the very end from partying on planets with red suns, because you can't get drunk on a yellow sun planet if you're Kryptonian. And she asks for the dog, and the dog tackles her and beats her around a little bit, and she loves it and walks off with the dog. She's a party girl. Supergirl in this universe is Kesha. Old Kesha. The image of old Kesha. So I guess, and again, I guess you could do something with that Supergirl if you want to. With that Supergirl, you should probably put her on a team. But yeah. Like I said, there were problems with this movie. And I talked about the problems with the movie. There were good things about the movie, and I talked about the good things about the movie, including but not limited to the guy who played Superman was good. I cannot stop talking. I will say this. The guy who played Superman was good. He's very good Clark, very good Superman. Lois was very good. They were not helped by the pacing and the implementation of some of the things, like those tender moments between them that should have been allowed to sit, but weren't, because they had to throw in a joke somewhere. They should have been allowed, but they weren't allowed, and that was a problem. So, of $15 to see this movie, Superman, this version of Superman, is worth... it's got good moments, it's got bad moments. Again, the 3D works, the costume, there's a lot of stuff that works. It's hindered a bit by some of those issues. I would give this, out of $15, I would say probably a high, I would say maybe 11, I want to say maybe, yeah, 11. I'll be nice and say 11 out of $15 for this movie. Is 11 out of 15 sounds about right? Because it's got the problems that it has, it still has those problems. Those problems are still there, and they took me out. At least in the moments. I got brought back, again, because the kid is a good Superman. But it needed to, if it had fixed those things, does 11 sound right? It's not, it's nowhere near perfect. It's not near perfect, so it's not 15. I wouldn't even put it 14. If it had fixed those problems, it might have been close to 14. If it had fixed those problems, it might have been maybe 13. But it didn't. So, and it came up a few times. And it came up a few times. And it came up a few. I would say 11. I would say 11 out of $15. Yeah, I would maybe say 11 out of $15. Yeah. I don't think 12. Yeah, because I don't think 12. So I would say 11 out of $15 is my rating for this movie. Party people, man, that was a lot. Because there's a lot to talk about and lots going on in this movie. Am I gonna go see Fantastic Four? I don't know. The more I hear about it, the less I kind of want to see it. Like I already kind of didn't want to see it. Like I kind of maybe semi, but they showed a trailer for it and it was fine, I guess. But I don't know. I don't know. I tell you what, this Fantastic Four is not helped by this Superman movie. I think had the Superman movie been better, I would have been more hyped, which is weird because it's different companies. But I would have been on more of a high to maybe see Fantastic Four than I am. But it's not better. It's fine. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. If you're going to see it, 3D is probably the way they want you to see it, for sure. But if you don't see it in 3D, IMAX is probably the next way they want you to see it. And if you don't see it then that way, then I guess you can see it regular if you want to. But there's definitely some stuff that they could have done, I think should have done differently. I think they should have really allowed the Lois and Clark moments to sit. I think it would have benefited from more Perry White. Again, though, Jimmy Olsen, great. That kid, if anybody stole the show, it was that Jimmy Olsen kid. And Lex Luthor was good. It was a good Lex Luthor. But 11 out of 15 is my rating. Party people, I want to hear from you. What is your rating for this movie? Comment down there in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe. The main thing I'm doing these days is the Podecito Podcast, which is a rewatch of the NBC show Las Vegas from 2003. And you can follow me on the Podecito everywhere, including on Instagram. There's the Podecito Gram, but you'll see it. It's the big poker chip as the emblem on all the stuff. We are on all the socials. We are on YouTube. We're slowly rebuilding the YouTube back up, but that's also the Podecito. The best place to find it is thepodecito.com. podcast.podbean.com has all the links, or the link tree. So you can find it there. That's the main thing I'm doing. Hopefully I can hear from Trey and might do some stuff. There's some other stuff that's in the pipeline too. You can follow me. But in the meantime, the in-between time, peace.